Cobb TV. Watch your life make sense.
Hello everyone. Welcome to another Ask the Kabbalist show, the show where you ask the questions, and with me as always, Kabbalist Dr. Michael Laitman is here to answer. Before we'll begin with our first question, I'll remind everyone that you can send questions. You go to tv.Kabbalah.info, and there you find our Ask the Kabbalist interface. You can send video questions, audio questions, text questions. We'll be happy to receive them. So let's start with our first video question for today. It's coming from Aaron from Wichita, Kansas. Let's watch it.
I'm Aaron Hickson from Wichita, Kansas, and if I had one question to ask, it would be, what is the meaning of life?
The meaning of life is to come to a state where, while I'm alive here in this life, while I'm living here and now, I achieve an eternal life, and perfect one. And it's possible if I reveal the other half of reality and discover where I truly can live in both parts of reality. The part of this reality that I feel in my biological life, in a body that lives and dies, and the other half that I can live in and exist in what is called the soul. It's also a kind of desire, but it's a desire in which I am still not living. I don't control it. And Kabbalah allows me to achieve that and begin to live and experience the other reality, the unlimited one. By my pulse, by the life that this protein allows me to live. So when I feel life in a different way through a desire called a soul, not in the still vegetative and animate forms, but in the speaking form, in my consciousness, then my body may die, but I'll continue living in the same way of life that I've captured before and exist in it. That's why Kabbalah allows a person to reach through life to a feeling of eternal life and continue in it. It sounds a little fantastic or, certainly unusual. I'm sure it does. And I too, as a biocyberneticist, as a beginning scientist, when I heard about this stuff, was very strange. What are they talking about? And what are they fantasizing, all kinds of stuff? Until I actually started investigating this deeper, and I saw it wasn't a religion or faith or any kind of imagination and fantasies, but a scientific approach, a very realistic one, to developing within a person, to discovering within of another system of perception of reality, in which when we begin to feel reality through it, we discover another reality, an additional one, and it's one that's hidden from us right now. So through those tools that I develop, when I discover this additional reality, I feel that I'm alive at another level, another dimension. And in it, I continue existing even when regardless of the body.
Why don't we have that system to begin with, inherent in us? Why aren't we born with that perception?
So that we achieve that other perception through our own choice. Because you can't discover it and you cannot exist in it unless you want to and you investigate it and discover and open that reality yourself, and you build it out of the constituents, like a piece of Lego or a little bricks that you build a house. That's how we have to build it. Why? Because by building it, we begin to understand this complexity in that system. We begin to attain, as it says, the meaning of life. Then we begin to attain the meaning of life by ourselves, because we build life, so to speak. We build everything out of the basis. And if we got it pre-made, we wouldn't feel what it is.
So the very act of building this new sense is the realization of our free choice, is the finding of the purpose
Well,
of
yes,
life.
it's explained in Kabbalah in many places. If our young friend wants to take interest in that, he's got tons of material.
Yes, of course, Aaron and everyone else are invited to go to Kabbalah.info, and on there you'll find a whole wealth of materials. So let's move on to another question. This is a video question as well. It's coming from California, from Alex. Let's watch it.
My name is Alex, and my question for you is, why can't we all just get along?
Oh, no, we can't get along just like that. And a young person like her asking herself in the beginning of life, why can't we get along? It's truly regretting, because people today are just remote from each other. And even if they are in some kind of contact, that contact it follows patterns and examples that they saw in movies. None of it is natural. It's because we don't know how to get along with others.
No, but what do you mean that we are mimicking?
We're unnatural. We act out images, personas that we saw in films and other places, and we can't get along naturally if we looked at how we behave. There are even films like that when we make fun of Hollywood films that people behave by them, and that's how we are. So our ego, as it evolves over the millennia, has now come to a point in its development that we are all closed within our own egos, and we can't understand each other. We can't feel each other. To me, the whole world is like I kind of see it from behind a glass. I don't see the others as my peers, my equals. I see them as things to use and to get something. Every person feels that he's special in the world, and the whole world exists so that I'll succeed and triumph over everyone. You agree, huh?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. But when we relate in this way, we all relate to each other in this way. And by that, we reject each other. And that's what she's asking. Why can't we get along? We can't get along because our egos are separating us. And by that, we're coming to a point where the world has become bad. The situations are bad. The family is not a family anymore. No connection between parents and children, between couples, spouses. Children leave their homes. People are generally dissatisfied with life, and they fall into drugs and depression, etc. Suicide, terrorism. People don't know what to do anymore. The world is filled with abundance. You can use it and enjoy. But no, we're ruining it. And it's all because of our egos. And the wisdom of Kabbalah explains and says, we have no choice. The world will get even worse, meaning even more selfish. If we want to fix it up, we have to know how we get along with our own egos, how we transcend it. The ego constantly grows. It's not going to let us get along. To get along among ourselves, and that's what she's asking, to communicate, to connect it with each other, is possible only if we go above the ego. The ego will remain between us, but we will kind of trick it in such a way that you and I understand that within us, by our nature, we hate each other. But above the hatred, we have to build a bridge of love between us. If we begin to learn how to do it, then we can. Kabbalah teaches that precisely. It says there will be a time when people discover they can no longer hate each other, because by that they're destroying life. From the moment they're born to the moment they die, everyone will feel that this life is just not worth it. It's worse than death. And when that time comes, people will want to open up the wisdom of Kabbalah and through it achieve love thy friends thyself. And that's what's going to happen. That's what Kabbalah says about all those ancient values from...
But how much hate, how much pain, how much suffering do we have to go through until we come to that conclusion, until we start using this means that you're talking about? It looks like we're still blocked. Like, even though she's asking and people are asking, we're still blocked.
I'm very happy, and I truly am hopeful about what's happening now. Why? Every place in the world, people are asking the same question. And conversely, in our framework, we have people who are advancing towards love between them. And we can already show examples how those people who go into the framework of our academy become happy, joyful. They discover a whole lot of friends. And more than that, they discover why is life worth living, the upper force. They discover the upper world. They discover a huge expanse that love between people opens to them. And all of a sudden they discover they should just love their friend as thyself. And they discover why that condition was given to us, so that we would be good kids here in this world, like parents tell their children, yes, stop fighting, your brothers, And we understand what families are like, right? Brothers and sisters, it's all quarrels and strife and whatnot. Instead, we begin to understand that our initial hatred towards each other and the need to rise towards love for each other, by that we build new senses for a new dimension, a new world. And when we approach that higher dimension, we feel ourselves in a happy and eternal and perfect life. That slogan, love thy friend as thyself, is not so we get along here in this world and connect to each other, like our friend is asking. It's far more than that. By that, you obtain eternity and perfection, wholeness, because you rise above the ego that's destroying your life and closing you in this tiny zone and in this bitter kind of area. You open a whole new reality. You begin to feel it outside of yourself.
From one of the things you said, correct me if I'm wrong, is that only when the people who are already awakened, who already use the means of Kabbalah, will really rise above themselves and build that bridge of love, only then will the rest of the world wake up, according to what you said. Yes?
Yeah. Yes. It's an example that we're building now. It's an example for the world about how you can stop suffering, so that those young people, and older people too, anyone asking, why are we living? To suffer. When are we going to get along? So they will feel and they will see in us that we can connect nicely, in a good way, in a way that's called arvut, mutual guarantee, in that kind of connection between us. And besides, in that connection, we discover a whole new thing, a new life. We don't just sweeten, mitigate the mundane life. We achieve a whole new dimension of life.
Okay, on a completely different topic, an audio question that comes from Peter from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Let's hear it.
Hi, this is Peter Latona from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and my question is, where does Kabbalah music come into play? Is it something that we just listen to for pleasure, or is it something that can also be used to advance similar to the books and the study? Thank you.
Music is just like the spoken language. That's why every nation, every time, every culture has its own expression in music. Music is more flexible than words because it comes directly from the heart, from emotions, and it goes directly into the heart. When I hear something, I don't need words. If I come from the same culture, from the same education, the same understanding of the person who wrote it or the person who plays it, then I feel him. I'm on the same wavelength with him. A melody is a language of connection that's much closer, quicker, and universal than the spoken language. And that's about our ordinary life.
Right, not necessarily Kabbalah music even, any kind of music.
Yeah. But in Kabbalistic music, the special thing about it is that it was written by people who feel superior reality, a higher reality. They're impressed by it. They go through very, very special states. And if they can, according to those states, express them in notes, musical notes. When I hear those notes, I begin to feel something similar to what they were feeling. It's very far from what they're feeling. They're feeling worlds and sfirot and patzufim and all kinds of forces that occur in the spiritual realm that I have nothing to do with. But I still, just because I want to, like a baby looking at a grown-up like that, with wide open eyes, I want to be like him. So I get some impression from that. And it's the same with Kabbalistic music. So it's good to hear it. It affects us amazingly. It brings us much closer to also feel and understand and be included in that realm from which those Kabbalists who composed it took their inspiration.
Do you think a person who studies Kabbalah can, even without attaining spirituality and those high degrees that Kabbalists have attained, can he also express that through music and share it with other people?
He can express, he can express only his own state, what he feels. If he's studying Kabbalah, then to the extent that he feels how he's advancing his personal states, good ones, bad ones, confused ones, happy ones, in relation to the study. So he expresses them in music. We have many songs written by our friends all over the world, in all kinds of styles, from South America, China, North America, and Europe. And of course we see that everyone expresses it in his own way. But it's still music or a language of beginners. It's not those emotions that a person experiences. But let's hope it's going to happen soon, that they will truly feel real phenomena, spiritual ones.
Okay, well, Peter, you can feel free to, and all our viewers, to go to Kabbalah.info.
Continue.
And continue hearing music, making music, whatever you feel like. And everyone is invited to go to Kabbalah.info, and we have a section of Kabbalah music there. Let's move on to another question. And it's another video question that is coming from Sarah. She's from New York. Let's watch it.
Sarah from New York. I'm wondering if a woman can be a great Kabbalist, and if so, what's the inner work that we can do to get there? Thank you.
Yes. We've had many such instances in history. Women achieved very high degrees in their spiritual development, in discovering the upper world. In that, a woman is just like a man. She has the same opportunities. In all of our circles, we teach men and women as one. Women take part with the men, boys and girls and grown-ups. There's no difference. That question perhaps is coming because there's a difference usually in religion between men and women. In the wisdom of Kabbalah, it's totally open for both genders. But the expression is different. Yes, the love of friends, when men organize the assembly of friends and they hug and all that, for women it happens on a more kind of a minimal level, because by nature women don't bond the way men do, so tightly. But again, it's only the superficial expression in our world. But in spirituality, internally, we all unite, men, women, children, elders, everyone as one man in one heart, and there's no difference between us. So I want to remove any kind of doubt about that. There is no difference in Kabbalah between men and women. The study is equal for all, and the soul, everyone can attain his soul, and he can attain his spirituality, his spiritual world. In that, men and women are equal. And we actually learn how men need a spiritual bonding with women, because without it we don't have the spiritual ascension. Without in each degree uniting together in souls.
Can you explain that connection? What do you mean that the women still have their unique role?
To beget, to give birth, to rise to another degree, we always have to connect female souls and male souls. And through the connection between us, we give birth to the next degree, which is the result of us, a third result. Like in our world, when we give birth to the new generation by bonding of a man and a woman, we give birth to the new degree in spirituality. So that's how we rise. Always by bonding and reciprocally giving birth to new forms, opening a new world, only together.
I see. Can you just still stand on the difference? Nevertheless, what is the difference between a female soul and a male soul?
A female soul is more important because it's the one that gives birth. Just like in our world, it gives birth to the next state. But a male soul is more important in the sense that it obtains the force, the power to beget the new soul. So just like in our world, you can't have one, you need both. So exactly the same is in spirituality. But in spirituality, it's without those distortions that exist in our world between men and women that are all under all these stresses, all kinds of unnatural states that we built in the human society. In spirituality, everything is so open, so natural. It's in such a way that we just have to be together because we're dependent on each other, and it's obvious. So we come and do the spiritual actions in a very simple, straightforward way. And nice. That's why the right realization of men and women is in spirituality. In corporeality, we'll never succeed in it. But first we have to succeed in spirituality, and as a result, we'll get a good influence on our mundane world.
Okay, great to hear. So spirituality is for everyone, men, women, anyone who wants to. You only need the desire for it. So you can also... Everyone also is invited to ask more questions to our show by going to tv.Kabbalah.info and posting a video question or an audio question, or just typing in a text question on our Ask the Kabbalist page. I'll be happy to receive those questions and ask them here. Thank you very much, Dr. Laitman, for being with us. Thank you very much for watching. All the best.